Welcome to a place where empathy and communication flourish, and we delve into the building blocks of strong and loving relationships. Samuel's early years were spent in the confines of an orphanage, his parental lineage a mystery to him. His mother's story was one of hospitalization without any official records, disappearing shortly after childbirth. As an infant, he battled both stunted growth and frail health, deterring potential adoptive parents. Yet, through the challenges of his youth, he emerged as a bright and determined young man. Throughout his upbringing, he ingrained within himself the belief that he would ascend to success. Though his peers jeered at his aspirations, Samuel's convictions endured. Eventually, time vindicated his ambitions as he indeed achieved triumph. Swiftly after departing from the orphanage, he plunged into diligent work. Adapting rapidly, he discerned the promising future of e-commerce. His online emporium swiftly claimed a prominent stance within the nation, catalyzing Samuel's transformation into a millionaire. Remaining unpretentious, he consistently extended support to the very orphanage that nurtured him. Festivities saw him delivering an abundance of treats and toys, even arranging for children's theater performances. His intent was to add a touch of radiance to their lives, acknowledging that while he could not gift them families, a yearning he too had once fostered, he could at least offer solace. As time flowed, Nicholas contemplated the notion of embracing matrimony and parenthood. Nevertheless, solitude had firmly entrenched itself in his life, casting doubt on the possibility of change. Women appeared and departed from Nicholas' life in rapid succession, their intentions often seeming pecuniary. However, his heart harbored the dream of discovering a woman who would reciprocate his love genuinely, dispelling any trace of skepticism he held. On that particular day, when Samuel stepped into the orphanage bearing his customary offerings, the children congregated outside. Many faces lit up with recognition, their joyful waves filling the air. Gazing at the kids, Samuel's smile exuded warmth. Unexpectedly, a little boy, approximately 5 years old, broke away from the cluster of youngsters. He darted toward Samuel, latching onto his legs with a fervent embrace, tears streaming down his cheeks. Despite the teacher's attempts to divert the child's attention, his inconsolable sobs persisted. Addressing Nicholas as "Daddy," the boy beseeched him to take him home. A wave of confusion swept over Nicholas. Never had the children reacted so intensely to his presence, and the boy's words struck a chord deep within him. Although he had intended to discuss repairs with the headmistress that day, he found himself handing the gift bags to the staff, using a hastily fabricated excuse to excuse himself to his car, citing pressing and important matters. In truth, the pretext was just a cover, for Samuel's schedule was tight, and forgetting something significant was improbable. As he settled into his car, he noticed his trembling hands. After a pause, he started the engine and directed his course homeward, the image of the young boy remaining etched in his mind. The boy was an unfamiliar face, likely a recent arrival. The question persisted: why would the child perceive Samuel as his father? The man's thoughts kept circling back to the child, pondering his emotions. If the boy felt betrayed and abandoned once more, assuming he truly believed Samuel was his father, what emotional turmoil must he be experiencing? Samuel's empathy extended to all abandoned children. In a bid to make a difference, he had taken the orphanage under his wing, becoming its patron. He often imparted to the children that their uniqueness was akin to that of everyone else, emphasizing their latent talents and potential for success, drawing parallels to his own life journey. And now, an inexplicable and somewhat disconcerting incident had unraveled before him. The following day found him returning to the orphanage, the boy who had addressed him as his father weighing heavily on his thoughts. Nicholas resolved to meet with the director and delve into the matter. Welcomed with a smile, he found the woman quick to extend apologies for the incident of the previous day. She proceeded to clarify that occurrences like these were not uncommon within the orphanage's walls, as the children perpetually clung to hope, yearning for parental connection. This pattern of behavior was one Samuel comprehended well. What baffled him, however, was why the young boy had referred to him as Daddy. The boy's eyes seemed to convey a sense of relief, as if he had genuinely encountered his father. Samuel couldn't easily dismiss the notion as mere childish fantasy. Eventually, the headmistress conceded with a sigh that the situation was indeed peculiar. The boy's name was Luke, and he had entered the orphanage a mere 2 weeks prior. Even prior to encountering Samuel, he had crafted a depiction of a man resembling him, asserting that the man was his father. With those words, the woman retrieved a collection of drawings from a folder on the table. As Samuel's gaze fell upon them, a profound tremor coursed through his being. Granted, they were far from photorealistic portraits, but an unmistakable characteristic resided within them, a deep scar etched into his right cheek. A scar from an altercation during his school days, a memory resurfacing in the depth of his mind. Luke's teacher entered the room and shared that she had engaged the boy in a conversation about his drawings. Luke had readily recounted that his mother had narrated tales of his father, glimpsed on the grand television screen. The teacher added in a hushed tone that just the previous day, Luke had packed his belongings, ardently anticipating his father's arrival, for him. A soft, meaningful cough from the headmistress followed, seemingly a discreet attempt to caution the young educator against unnecessary disclosures. Evidently, she was wary of unsettling a patron who had generously invested in the orphanage's progress. The fact remained that anyone could claim such a title, but that didn't automatically bestow the legitimacy of fatherhood. Upon scrutinizing the drawings closely, Samuel inquired about the whereabouts of the boy's mother. Revelations unveiled that the child had been discovered on the orphanage's doorstep without a shred of accompanying information. A mystery now under police investigation, progress had thus far proven elusive. The boy was oblivious to his own last name or place of residence. A heavy sigh escaped Samuel's lips as his hand found its way to the back of his head. While he acknowledged having been with various women, contemplating the possibility of an unprotected encounter leading to a child was startling. The notion bordered on the fantastical, yet if the boy truly bore his blood, the man could not fathom allowing him to mature within the confines of an orphanage. As Nicholas exited the room into the hallway, he encountered the teacher, who had been awaiting his emergence. Her name was Arya, a recent college graduate employed as a teacher at the orphanage. Expressing apologies for her persistence, she confessed to her profound concern about the boy's well-being, given his extended period without food. Blushing, the young woman admitted to uncovering a childhood photograph of Nicholas within the archives, discerning certain resemblances. Nicholas clenched his jaw, appraising the young woman before him. Extending his card, he requested her assistance in inquiring about the boy's mother and then bid her farewell. Later that evening, he rendezvoused with his friend Owen, pouring out the turmoil that occupied his mind. Owen, himself a product of an orphanage upbringing, comprehended his friend's emotional turmoil. Drawing from his experience, he recommended that Samuel undertake a paternity test, thus conclusively addressing the uncertainty. Samuel regarded the suggestion as a stroke of brilliance, expressing gratitude for his friend's sagacity. The following morning, he resolved to contact Arya, proposing a meeting at a cafe to discuss matters further. Their encounter saw Arya providing him with a sample of the boy's hair for analysis. Her demeanor exuded excitement, informing him that Luke had exhibited an unusual calmness over the past 2 weeks, a stark contrast to his previous demeanor. Arya harbored a steadfast belief that the child's impulsive embrace of Samuel bore significance. Regrettably, her conversations with Luke about his mother yielded limited information. The child had only divulged her name, Ellie, along with the poignant detail that she had been unwell, sobbing through the night upon parting from him. Nicholas's recollection was vivid. In another time, he had crossed paths with a girl named Ellie. Their encounter had taken place at a conference, where her aspirations of crafting bespoke garments and launching her own fashion line kindled their connection. Nicholas's involvement had lasted but a week, recognizing his own unpreparedness for a committed relationship, leading him to sever communication abruptly. That had marked the conclusion of their interaction. Could this truly be the same Ellie? Samuel's focus sharpened on unraveling the woman's identity. Soon, the disheartening truth emerged: she had passed away just a week ago, under the care of a hospice. A torrent of horror and shame gripped Samuel's heart. The weight of his actions bore down on him with an intensity that was almost unbearable. He saw himself, or rather his callous past self, in a painfully unflattering light. He began to grasp the depth of Ellie's feelings, how she had likely held genuine affection for him. Regrettably, his own apprehensions and fear of emotional commitment had compelled him to abandon her. Now, the opportunity to seek her forgiveness had been irrevocably lost. Contemplating Luke's situation, Samuel perceived that Ellie could have given birth to her child by anyone. However, an epiphany struck him: the paternity was irrelevant. What mattered now was his willingness to take responsibility and make amends. Hence, irrespective of the outcome of the DNA test, he decided to adopt the boy. He sought to redeem himself in the eyes of both the child and his departed mother. Samuel issued directives to his legal team, tasking them with drafting adoption documents and notifying the orphanage director of his decision to adopt Luke. Although apprehension enveloped him at the thought of meeting the boy, the potential complexities did not outweigh his newfound determination. However, gaining the necessary permission remained a hurdle, and Samuel was acutely aware that the solitary nature of his existence didn't necessarily align with the role of an adoptive parent. Several days later, the results of the DNA test arrived, definitively confirming Luke's biological connection to Nicholas. Armed with this certainty, the process of formalizing the adoption became considerably smoother. News of the confirmed relationship evoked tears of joy from Arya. She couldn't contain her happiness at the boy finally reuniting with his father. Samuel wasted no time, urging the headmistress to bypass unnecessary formalities, a request she complied with willingly, given his sponsorship and commitment. And so, in a small office, the boy was introduced to Samuel. Stooping down to Luke's level, Samuel's smile conveyed warmth as he cradled the child in his arms. Their eyes met, a mix of happiness and longing, a silent promise exchanged. Samuel declared that he would be taking Luke home. The weeks turned into a month, a period in which Samuel acclimated himself to his new role as a father. Life gradually found its rhythm. Yet, one day, an unusual dream arrived. Within the dream, Ellie appeared, her spectral presence exuding forgiveness. She expressed gratitude for Samuel's decision to stand by her son. While he recognized the dream as a product of his own subconscious rather than mysticism, the weight on his heart seemed to lift. A year elapsed, and with a growing sense of stability in his fatherly role, Samuel took the next step and proposed to Arya. In the wake of the adoption, their communication deepened, evolving into a profound bond. Arya embraced her role not only as a supportive partner but also as a stepmother to Luke. Her agreement to become Nicholas' wife spoke volumes of their shared understanding and connection. Amidst this unfolding of life's complexities, a new addition joined the family. Luke became a big brother to a baby sister. In a stunning twist of fate, Samuel found himself part of a family, a journey he hadn't anticipated. The tale came full circle, unexpected and heartwarming. Thank you for watching and listening to my story. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something from it. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more stories like this. And don't forget to share your thoughts and feedback in the comments below. See you next time.